Or you've just been
I've been
streaming.
recording. It's recording audio,
Oh, okay.
which makes hey, social networks, man. I know Brandon has other shows on Helix Rock Radio that have started like streaming to Helix Rock Radio while they also do like we do and they stream. And they've been having trouble with their settings and stuff. Adding just that extra layer of streaming to another platform that's very different than this, it sucks a little bit in that like it's so easy to forget one of the many steps you got to do.
Sure.
So yeah, we haven't been streaming video at all this whole time.
So that was really all going to Helix Rock Radio.
That was a Helix Rock Radio exclusive, especially
You
the
got it
long
all.
part where I shared my second monitor and we were talking about what we were looking at on the screen. Cool.
Oh, all the visual cues that you had. None of the
Oh,
visual. No.
Well, that's a little bit of a bummer, but that's okay.
Man,
How
so
long-
the social, so Facebook and YouTube and Twitch, y'all think we're really late, but really we've been going for a while.
We kind of
Yeah.
have been going for a while.
You missed the best part already, man.
I'm sorry.
I would agree you did miss the best part, but you know what? We haven't talked about Deadpool and Wolverine yet.
Yeah, so you still get the actual main event.
Yeah.
You just
Jesse
didn't
talked
get any
about-
of the pre-show,
Right.
which was really just the show. Like
The
we used to do a
pre-show.
pre-show. Now it's just the show.
I think we really did a pre-show. We just did the show, and we were like, "This is too long. We got to cut half this off and make it pre-show."
Sometimes that's true, yeah. Or sometimes you were just like, hey, we're not quite ready, so while we get set up, we're just going to ramble about stuff
Yeah.
and record it.
You
Which
know
is
what?
to say, go check out Patreon because we have all sorts of pre-show content that
Oh,
we just
man.
badmouthed for the last 10 minutes. It's awesome.
It is awesome. You know what? The pre-show and post-show, the occasional post-shows, were often my favorite bits because there's no pressure. The pressure's totally off. So you want truly candid, more or less.
It's like if you're foolish enough to stick around to the very, very end, to after even the Isn't It Amazing bits, we usually have like one or two more talking points that are just ridiculous, and they sometimes are the most fun.
This is when everybody records like I do, where we're just like, yeah, whatever.
Right.
You want Melanie at her most disengaged. I mean, it's most of the show, but it's especially after the science segment.
Yeah.
She's like, I
That's
got my
when I
science. I'm done.
Yeah, because before that, I at least have to keep my ear out, even if I'm not participating. Once that's done, I'm like, bye bye.
Is this over yet? Because I'm done.
Okay, let's talk about Deadpool and Wolverine. Here's how I think we should handle spoilers here. We're gonna get into spoilers.
Yeah.
We can at least give our overall opinion, I think, without spoilers. But after that, we kind of have to get into spoilers. And by spoilers, I mean, if you haven't read any articles about it, there's still cameos and stuff that I'm sure will surprise you. Those are the big spoilers. So, before we do that, though, what did you guys think of Deadpool and Wolverine?
It's
I liked
all
it.
right.
I thought it was fun.
Yeah, no, it's good. I'm giving the underwhelming review on purpose.
Jesse's trying to be cool.
Yeah.
I thought...
Well, if I really wanted to be edgy, I'd be one of those guys that was like, that was a terrible movie. Like, there's people out there saying this is bad. And they're like, not anybody I've talked to.
overrated fan service.
Yeah.
Look at me, I can look at the camera and make a reference, which is
Right.
a joke they even make in the movie.
That was such
yeah,
a
I
good
loved
joke,
it.
too. That was so good.
The proposal. I thought it was fantastic. There were parts of it that I I loved it. I was almost like, this could be 5 stars. But it's not perfect. It's still a Deadpool movie, right? Like, it doesn't, it's
Right.
not.
It is
still
not
goofy.
trying to be a 5-star movie. It
not
never
trying
is
to be.
trying.
No.
That's why you want to give it a 5-star review, because it's so
Right.
clearly crapping on 5-star movies.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But no, I thought it was great. Is good fun, and I don't know. We got to get we got to just give a spoiler disclaimer, I guess, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
Maybe
know how
I
you
shouldn't
talk
even-
about this at all, other than to say Deadpool's in it, Wolverine's in it, and now spoilers.
Yeah. Basically.
Yeah.
Can I? How do I edit this? I need to specify Deadpool and Wolverine spoilers.
Oh yeah, for the
There we
folks
go.
who might just jump in.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Because they'd be like, Deadpool and Wolverine and Godzilla, are they giving spoilers for Godzilla? No. You missed all that.
No.
And if you did,
Right,
if you
right.
can't-
That was never streamed. That
the
was
only
never
people
streamed.
that
The
right.
radio people didn't get a warning. They were just like, we're just gonna spoil 30-year-old. No, not 30. Way older than 30-year-old movies.
Yeah. 60s from the 60s. So what is that? We're hitting
Yeah.
like
Like 50-year-old movies,
50-year-old movies. Yeah.
60-year-old movies. We're talking old.
But okay. Spoilers. Just because, and like I said or maybe it wasn't even on the air that I said it, that Deadpool and Wolverine spoilers aren't even necessarily about the plot, because the plot is whatever. It's fine. It definitely plays into it, but and I like I have things to say about the plot, but it's like the certain gags, it's the cameos. Those are the spoilers I think that matter, and
Right.
we're gonna get into them.
And if you've avoided them somehow. Kudos, because they're like, the embargo's over. People are just posting whatever they want now.
And I feel like there's a lot of articles that they'll be like, "Oh, warning, spoilers," after they've listed all the like cameos, and it's like, you guys don't understand.
And the thumbnail is a spoiler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did get some, like, I knew some people, just because there would be like a picture of Wesley Snipes and
yeah.
Deadpool in the headline. I'm like, oh, okay, cool, thanks for that.
Right.
The one I didn't get spoiled for me. If you don't want it spoiled, don't listen. The Chris Evans one did not get spoiled for me. The little twist.
No, yeah, I didn't.
It was
yeah,
so good.
mostly cameos, I did not get spoiled for me. Most of them. I mean, like, I think there's some that was just like, man, we knew about this months ago. So, yeah. Like, I knew there was going to be Lady Deadpool. I knew, like, that was right in the trailer, that kind of stuff. But, yeah.
Right, the Deadpool variants. Yeah, okay, whatever. Like, those are still cameos and stuff.
Right.
But like, I also knew Channing Tatum was gonna pop up somewhere.
Oh, I
at
didn't
some
know
point.
that, and I popped so hard for that because I was like, no way. No way. Because when he came through, like, you see the card first, and I'm like, oh, they got the guy from X-Men Wolverine Origins. Like, because that's what it was kind of, was like, oh, we're getting established characters just from the old movies, right? From the Fox movies, basically the Foxiverse, or whatever you want to call it.
The first Sabretooth.
Yeah.
Toad, who I don't know was necessarily the same actor.
I think it was Ray Parks. I mean, like, he's much older now, but like Darth Maul. Yeah. I think he was one of the Toads at the very least.
I know he was, but I don't know if they got him for this or not. Anyway, but yeah, no, I know what you meant with Gambit. Back on that.
Yeah, yeah, and then he walks out and it's Channing Tatum in a friggin' comics accurate suit, and I'm like, what? Are you kidding me? Because it was one of those, like, like, that movie was never made, and yet this was the perfect way for him to do this. It was like, of course, this movie never got made, so where would this variant of Gambit wind up? in the trash heap of the TVA at the end of
Well,
whatever, the end of time.
I even like that at one point they're talking about the people they saved and the people they could have saved, and he's like, the people I never got a chance to save. And I like that. I did watch, before we went live, I watched Ryan George pitch meeting for Deadpool and Wolverine. And it's whatever. It's like the writer guy pitching it to the producer guy, and he's like, Channing Tatum is Wolverine. He's like, what? And he's like, he was gonna be in the cast as Gambit, or whatever. Channing Tatum, whatever. You know what I'm saying? I'm mixing up my words now. But the producer guy's like, so that's going to appeal to people who paid close attention to casting news in 2014 about movies that got canceled. And he's like, yep, that's the market or the demographic or whatever.
But it was like so perfect to Deadpool, because Deadpool is that movie. Deadpool doesn't exist if someone, maybe assisted by Ryan Reynolds, didn't leak that footage. Like, if that footage didn't get leaked, these movies don't exist. And so it's like so perfect that it's almost like Deadpool's leaking the Channing Tatum movie that never happened.
He looked a little weird.
Oh, he looked real weird. They really dumbed him up. There's no way he was going to look like that in his own movie.
Right. And the voice was so over the top.
Oh, man. They just told him to go, like, redonk. And he did.
I think part of what works, because I like Ryan Reynolds, even though he's just Van Wilder forever.
They even make those jokes.
Yep. But if it was just him being like, snarky, I don't think it would be as well as there's still like good conceptual things. Like, it's just the attitude, the idea of like, but Logan's story's over. They sent him off in the best possible way. Logan was amazing. Right. So they open this one by Deadpool even talking about, like, we'd be respectful, as he then digs up the decayed corpse of Logan from the grave at the end of Logan, and then uses his bones to kill a bunch of guys.
That's so good. That's your cold open too, Like, I think every cold open has had something about Wolverine too. I think that's been a consistent through line too. Right. I know that the second one did, but I want to say the first one was bashing Wolverine too.
Just that attitude. It's because the people who are like, oh, it's just meta, it's just making references. It's like, I don't know. They miss. And it's not necessarily just that. It's the commentary.
I like that. So Peter, he is from the other movies. He's on his little team that Deadpool makes.
Yeah. X-Force. Yeah.
But he's the only one that doesn't have any powers. Right?
You're right.
And he's the only one that shows up here. Right? Or am I wrong? I believe so.
Well, Shatterstar's there. He's one of the 9 for some reason.
Okay.
Like, there's 9 people that matter to me.
Right.
Right.
But for the most part, I like that, there's all these other characters from other movies and other things that I'm sure more people know and like, but no, we're just going to take this regular dude that they killed and then brought back, haphazardly with the time control thing that he had.
Right. It's who ultimately saves the day in a way. It's this Peter guy, this rando character.
Yeah. Peter Poole.
This ridiculous character.
That was awesome.
I liked the use of the TVA was interesting. It's a good way to bring it in, but I liked how they used just the multiverse thing as a stand-in for the Marvel Cinematic Universe and the Fox version, basically the Disney studio and the Fox versions of this, to kind of denigrate both.
Yeah. And they brought in Jon Favreau to be just kind of a jerk, like a
right.
Hmm.
Yeah, there were very few cameos from current MCU, the current Marvel Cinematic Universe, which
It was
I'm a little
basically
surprised
Happy,
by.
right? Like it was
It was
mainly John
Happy, and
Favreau.
he was the big one that people would know,
Oh,
unless you
and then the
watched.
Loki gal, the
Yep.
the head of the
Then that's
TVA
it.
now. Yeah.
And that's it. Yeah.
Uh, that TVA wasn't the TVA. That was a different TVA. I just wanted to point that out because it was not. It was not the same.
It wasn't as
It's,
retro styled.
Right.
It didn't look quite the same. Although, when it went to the one lady from Loki, her office looked more in line with the show, the
Right.
show design. So different TVA locations maybe and different designers.
This did look like the B team TVA.
Right, and they
Yeah.
were obviously like off, They were kind of rogue.
Right.
They were off doing their own thing, which the TVA seems to have a problem with. I feel like
They
they need
really
to crack
do.
down on that.
They really do. They have too many departments, clearly.
Yep.
mm-hmm.
Well, you think about the very first episode of Loki where he's just like being dropped down through a tube, basically, and all of his clothes get zapped off and stuff. It's like, how many floors are there to the TVA? Like,
Right.
this is not a good use of space. It's
Right.
an inefficient design. Kang the Conqueror, maybe, but not Kang the Architect. That's for sure.
I guess most surprising cameos for me was definitely the Chris Evans twist. That was so good. And
That
then
was so good. It was a bait and
it was
switch.
so good.
I mean, like they had me, and I was like, "Oh, they're doing like a Earth X Captain America thing." And then when he goes to he's doing the whole hugging him from behind thing, and I was like, "Wait a minute, it's not." Oh, he's gonna say it. It was like that's when I had the moment where I was like, "It's not Captain America."
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
I was surprised by Elektra.
I was surprised by all of
Elektra,
them. Yeah.
Elektra surprised me quite a bit. I was like, wait, what? Really?
Yeah.
I like the nod to the Ben Affleck. The Daredevil is like a Daredevil got killed. Oh, shame.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just too bad. Cavalrine was
That
great.
was great. Comics accurate Wolverine was pretty darn funny.
I like that too.
Honestly, all of the Wolverine nods when he's just trying to find a Wolverine that will come with him. Like you had the almost like the John Byrne, and he calls it out, the brown suit John Byrne Wolverine. He's like, wait a minute, didn't you fight the? And there's the Hulk in his claws. Like that was awesome. Like straight up comic. Like comic panels just torn, just torn right off the comic panels where like he's nailed to the X cross in the Mountain of Skulls. You got Age of Apocalypse Wolverine. Like, wow. So nerdy. So fun.
Right. It's interesting. I guess, it's also the kind of comedy just throw so much out there that the deep cuts are going to land with who they need to land with, but there's still so much other stuff getting thrown out there that it's not going to alienate the mass audience. Like, there's still plenty for everybody, even if you don't catch the deep cuts.
And the blind owl stuff, like they basically did the grumpy old men thing, only with cocaine. It was like, we can't talk about it. It's the one thing that we're not supposed to talk about. The devil's dust. What if I call it? Like she just kept listing off different ways to say cocaine. It was too good.
I'm trying to think of what else. What else was there?
The dog.
Dog
That poor
pool.
unfortunate creature.
Dog pool. Oh my
Okay,
goodness.
we got to talk about Nice Pool then too. That was ridiculous.
Nice pool and dog
apparently,
pool.
apparently, Nice Pool, the one Deadpool that doesn't have regeneration, of course.
That was ridiculous. And what about why don't you wear a mask? A mask? Come on, guys, really?
Right.
Well, maybe
Van
maybe that's
Wilder,
why he
that was
doesn't have regeneration, because he stayed
Right.
beautiful.
Yeah, he never got messed
Yeah.
up. He never got cancer, so he never needed the regeneration to keep him alive.
Oh, I can't believe we haven't. We got to talk about Hugh Jackman. Because
Oh, yeah.
there are scenes in this where I'm like, Hugh, this is Deadpool, man. You don't need to go so hard. When he
Right.
gets
Yeah.
upset with him in the car before that ridiculous scene where they're just stabbing each other in the car, which was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Honda Odyssey, man.
Right. His acting, though, like, Hugh Jackman's great.
He
He's
was
so great.
good. Yeah.
And he didn't have to deliver such, like, some of his performance in this is really fantastic. And again, it's almost jarring because it's like, this is Deadpool.
Yeah, like
you
everybody
don't have
else
to-
is just doing standard Deadpool, and he's over here trying to win another Tony.
right. It was
That kinda
so
makes
good.
It kind of makes it all funnier. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
They are. Sorry, go ahead.
no, it's okay. Go ahead.
Well, no, that made me think of something you were talking about after we got out of the theater. Is just he's such a good straight man.
Yeah, that was what I was gonna say. Yeah.
Yeah, he's such a good straight man. Like, him and Deadpool make such a good pair, and specifically how, because if you've seen Hugh Jackman on other stuff, like he was recently with Ryan Reynolds on Hot Ones, right? He's pretty goofy. He's a goofy guy.
Oh.
He obviously likes to laugh and have fun. You know, they probably had a lot of fun on set. But Wolverine is so serious, and
Yeah.
he keeps him very serious. He's such a good straight man for Deadpool.
Agreed.
Yeah. Yeah, it was great.
Bad guy was fun. She did a great job as Cassandra Nova.
Mm-hmm.
She was okay. I think my favorite part of that was the horrifying effect of the fingers popping out
Oh,
of their
yeah.
face when she'd reach through their heads. That was really good.
Yeah, nailed it.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. I'm sure there's other things.
I like the idea of somebody like being like, "This is my realm" or whatever, you know, of the trash pile, which I guess
Yeah.
they kind of did.
Right.
Yeah, they kind of did something similar, I suppose, with what's his name, Goldblum in Ragnarok, but it was still way
You're right.
different.
Right.
Literal trash planet.
Yeah.
The
Grandmaster.
The Grand Master.
Yeah. Sparkles.
And there was a lot in this movie, and I'm sure like they still had budgetary constraints. They could have gone really crazy. They were almost kind of like, despite the like Deadpool core, they were kind of restrained with the cameos, given that they had access to multiverse and all
Yeah.
that. Like, they could have went really wild with it.
I like how they funneled it in and basically made it like a love letter to the Fox universe.
Yeah, I literally at the end credits when they did the like behind the scenes montage from the various Fox movies. I
Yeah.
thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
And it makes sense. It is a good way to approach it, to where they're like, we're not just gonna like grab all the MCU characters and whatnot. I did like the constant callback to the screen of like, why was Thor crying with me? Like, what is going on there?
Yeah. That's
Thor-
what I
Thor-
thought the after credit scene was going to be. And then I was,
Right.
but I was not disappointed by the by the end credit scene. Some people I've seen articles where they're like, "This is the reason the end credit scenes need to die" or whatever. I was like, "What? What was the perfect way to use an end credit scene?"
Deadpool is always. I mean, that's like since the first one. Like, they used the end credit scene to subvert it, like to kind of
Right.
like take a dump on the.
They just did the Ferris
why
Bueller in the first one.
Yeah, totally nothing. He's like, "Why are you still here? Go away. What are you doing?"
Yeah.
And this was kind of more of the same of like, here's this ridiculous thing, and we're just gonna let Chris Evans get some truly raunchy, horrific dialogue in.
Right.
It was great. I bet Chris Evans had a great time filming that.
Oh, I'm sure he did. I mean, plus that's that Johnny. That Johnny was totally that guy. So
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I've never watched that. I've never watched the Fox.
yeah,
Fantastic Four.
if there is an edgy character in that whole thing, it's Chris Evans, his Human Torch is as edgy as it got. Even Doctor
Yeah.
Doom was like so campy and dumb, but Evans, his Human Torch was fun.
I was kind of prepared to be disappointed in like, oh, that's the worst Wolverine. He left, and then the X-Men got killed. I mean, that sucks. But then he kind of threw out the like berserker rampage, right? Like afterwards, he killed a lot of people that probably deserved it, and he killed a lot of people that didn't, or whatever.
They
So I
basically
was like,
did
okay,
Old
okay, I
Man
get
Logan, but it was
Right.
interesting that they made the Old Man Logan cameo look even more like Clint Eastwood.
that. Right. Right.
Wasn't there an episode? What do you call it? Issue of, or like, I don't know, a storyline where Wolverine killed the X-Men himself. I thought.
Yes, that was
Yeah.
Old Man Logan,
well,
because
there
he
you go. I
thought
would've
they
thought-
were bad guys because Mysterio tricked him.
See, that's what I thought they were
Yep.
gonna do, but then they didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been a lot more. I kind of wonder if maybe that was the idea, and they had to like maybe soften it a little bit. They're like, if we make him too bad,
We'd have to spend money to Sony, because those are all characters that Sony owns.
that's true. Yeah, I think it's good. The Deadpool.
One of my favorite things is the ending where they have the MacGuffin machine, and the only way to save everything is to complete the current or whatever. And so they're
Yeah.
like fighting over who's going to save the world, and then they both save the world together, and then that's why they're able to survive, because if one person did it, then there's no way you could survive. But if a Deadpool and a Wolverine hold hands to Madonna's Like a Prayer,
It's indestructible. Yeah,
Marvel
that.
Marvel Jesus. Boom.
Yo, I enjoyed that too. The Marvel Jesus, and man, he even calls out like what a rocky time it is for them. For the
Oh, yeah.
Marvel movies.
Oh,
It's
man.
like so on point. This is really like the perfect timing for this movie to come out, especially given like. Yeah, it was waning popularity. And maybe we can get into this if we have time, but a little disappointed that the Kang thing's just getting dropped. But it really is the perfect time to like, boom, Deadpool,
Yeah.
revitalize, and I feel like maybe that's what the Doctor Doom and the Russo brothers announcements all about. Like they knew like, okay, Deadpool's probably gonna hit pretty well. Let's do this, drop this news, try to get people excited again.
Right. I don't think it worked the way they thought it was going to work. But
No.
but the internet is definitely mixed on this. I think it's still fine and good. I don't know. Maybe we're not. Are we done with Deadpool? Before I just go off on a tear there.
I gave Deadpool a solid 4.
Oh, it's definitely 4. Yeah. Maybe
yeah.
4.5. Holly
Right.
rarely wants to see a movie again in the theaters.
Oh,
She was like, she loved it so much she was ready to go back and see it again the next day.
I did. When I got home, I was like, Melanie, you feel like watching some more Deadpool movies? And she's like, I don't know. I would have. This is again we were talking about earlier before the video went live. Sorry, guys. If it was Randy's Alone binge time, I probably would have watched the first 2 Deadpools after I got back from that. But
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
yeah, man, really good.
Mhm.
Melanie even, I asked Melanie, what would you rate this? She even would have gone 4 stars, and that's pretty rare.
Honestly, I think this is the most Deadpool of all the Deadpool movies. Like,
Yeah.
it's just him being crazy, and in the world also being crazy, and that's
Yeah.
great. Trying to force it too much into the stereotypical makes it more boring to me, I think.
Right.
Yeah, they didn't try to tack on the idea that this was a love movie or a family movie or like they didn't do any of that. It was just Deadpool has to save the world or the universe or whatever. And so it's like just Deadpool being Deadpool, doing Deadpool stuff all day long.
And it's still yeah. And it's still a Wolverine movie. Wolverine second billing. It's Deadpool and Wolverine, so it's Deadpool movie first. But it's got enough of solid, moody Hugh Jackman performance and moody seriousness for a Wolverine. Like, it's got the element is there. There's a few conversations. It's like, cool. Wolverine movie quota completed. Back to Deadpool shenanigans. I thought it worked well.
The story arc with the growth and all that, they come out better in the end. It has all that. So, yeah. I think it's great. And it's just fun. And that's the point.
Right.
I still don't understand what the appeal of the Peter character is, why all of a sudden everybody's just like, oh, yeah, let's stop and,
I think he's like the Hydra Bob character or whatever, like he doesn't make any sense, but everybody loves that character for some reason. And so like they just took that idea and just did it up. Like every Deadpool loves Peter.
I mean, I think that's the whole thing. That's why it exists, because it doesn't make sense, because it's ridiculous. That's the entire thing. Yeah. It is ridiculous.
Like that's the only reason he was ever on the team was that Deadpool liked him.
Yeah.
The action, Deadpool's always good about the action sequences. There were some very good ones. Even though, and it hadn't even crossed my mind until that first fight where they first start fighting. I'm like, oh, they both have like rapid regeneration. So this is just going to be them stabbing the crap out of each other and not getting anywhere. And it was every time.
Yep.
But that's not a con for me. That's a pro.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to kill either of these characters. Like, you don't have to. I've seen complaints about there being no stakes. It's like, did you really think they were going to kill either of them anyway? Like, and if they did, there's an infinite number of them. It's a multiverse story.
I was kind of hoping for a little bit of like a, baby arm fight or something like that, but whatever.
Yeah, they didn't do that. You're right.
They did. I did notice like they had some Deadpools that had lost limbs and they were growing back baby arms. So that was interesting. Like when they did the Deadpool core, and I even forgot because the violence is so visceral that like you're just like, man, they're just killing everybody. And then it was like, oh, that's right, they all can regenerate. Of course, nobody died except Nice Pool.
Except Nice Pool. Well, and I did like that sidetracking. Kind of, it had to be somewhat Old Boy inspired. Sidetracking, one shot action sequences where they're fighting the pool core, the Deadpool core, whatever they call the group of them. That was pretty cool. Ended on a good comedic moment, and then they're like, start getting back up, and Deadpool and Wolverine are both like, oh, like they had forgot. It's like, yeah, man, what did you think was gonna happen? But then, ridiculous. Then, well, Peter Pool comes out of nowhere, and it's just ridiculous. So yeah, that's our Deadpool talk.
Wait, I really liked just one more thing. When he was going like that, I mean, nothing was happening, but he was totally trying to do the Spider-Man shooting his web thing, and that was hilarious to me too.
Yeah, why though? I don't even remember. It was just kind of out of nowhere. It's just like I think it was just him riffing, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good.
Okay, that's it. Now we can move on.
I did also like the specific nod to the big whatever creature in the void. He's like, oh, whatever from Loki season 1 episode 5. That just to, it's not just a reference.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
such a specific, like, this
The
episode from season
pedantic
1.
reference. Yeah.
It's so funny. That was so funny to me. And it was also maybe a little bit like, this is one creature that maybe the audiences, they're not going to know. Not everybody watched Loki. So to specifically call it out,
Right.
I enjoyed that quite a bit too.
Yeah.
Anyway. I
Everyone should
also
watch
enjoyed
Loki. It's great.
the nice pool where he's like, oh, you break the fourth wall. I could do it too. And he turns, looks at the camera and just says the
It just
proposal.
The
He's like, that's not how
I
it
was
works.
like, I was like, that is such a
dumb
dumb line, and it totally worked.
Right.
It's like, that's the
right.
dumbest way to do it, and that's why it was so good. Because you
Right.
gave like the dumbest version of Deadpool, kind of, the opportunity to do the dumbest version of the fourth wall break.
Yeah.
And it's also like the go-to, like when people complain about the fourth wall break, it's like, oh, they just look at the camera and say reference a movie. And it's like, well, it's not just that. Like, that doesn't necessarily make a good fourth wall break.
Yeah.
And they just, here's an example of why. And they do it right there in the movie.
Right.
So, Robert Downey Jr., Doctor Doom. That's
I
the thing.
didn't know how to feel about it, and that was one of those things that was like, oh, they just kind of announced it, huh? You know? And I was like, there's so many parts of me that is like, this is why this is a bad idea, don't do it. But then there's the other part of me that's like, it's the Russo brothers. And
Right,
it
I
must
had
have been a
heard-
really good script, because Robert Downey Jr. is not just coming back for nothing.
Oh, I'd guarantee he's not coming back for nothing. He's
Right.
coming back for a whole lot, especially because the Russo brothers I'd heard first, and I was fine with that. It's like, yeah, fine. They did a great job on the movies they
Yeah.
directed. Which what
I would
Captain
say,
America-
arguably, like between, and we've talked about this. Like, I think we're still recording our shows when Endgame came out. I don't know, maybe we weren't.
yeah, I think so.
But like, go back. We loved Infinity War, Russo brothers. We didn't love Endgame, but a lot of people did. And here's the brilliance of the Russo brothers. You look at the Endgame idea on paper, that shouldn't work at all. That movie sounds dumb. If you just like take the synopsis of what that movie is and just
Right.
read it off of a sheet in a pitch meeting and be like, no, we're not going to pay for that. No. They're going to go back in time to get the stones, and Thor's fat. And
Right,
he's
right.
in a fight with a teenage kid on Fortnite. No. Nobody wants that. But then they did. They totally wanted that. Like, a lot of people love that movie. That's probably the movie I've seen the least. But, like, people love it. So that's the brilliance of the Russo brothers. They made people cry at that movie somehow.
right. Well,
So I trust them, I guess.
and I've been curious about their post MCU stuff, but they're known for action stuff, and everything they've done, like some movies for Netflix, and I think Chris Evans has popped in at least one of them, and speaking of Thor, what's his name? He's popped into at least
Hemsworth.
one. But they just look like such generic action movies with Action Man doing action things. Maybe he's an agent. I don't know. That I'm just like, I'm sure they're fine. It's probably more in the vein of what made Captain America Winter Soldier so appealing to people is that, sure, it's a Captain America movie, but it's just kind of a good action movie.
Right. Yeah. It's a spy movie. Yeah.
So I'm sure their action movies are good. It's just they look so generic that I haven't checked them out.
And didn't they do Winter Soldier, or not? That's what you just said. Didn't they do Civil War as well?
I think so. I think so.
And they
I'm
made
not
that
sure.
interesting too. So,
Right.
with like big ensemble cast is like, and they're all fighting, but they're all fighting because of Zemo.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm fine with that. I mean, we knew what's his name was going to be out as Kang.
Right.
I'm disappointed that. I mean, they got to do something, right? Some type of 2 lines of dialogue, just hand wave it away, maybe. Like, there's got to be something. I am disappointed there's just dropping Kang. Not even because I'm particularly attached to Kang. I liked what Loki set up. Did not like what Ant-Man set up.
Right.
I thought he was fine. That Kang was fine. And also every Kang has been portrayed different. And I don't necessarily like that guy's choices and how he played some versions versus others. But the main Kang in Ant-Man, Quantumania or whatever, was fine.
Sure.
The post-credit scene with all the Kangs in the different outfits,
Yeah.
you know, that
And
looks
that's
so
even
bad.
what they do. That's even what the Kang stuff looks like.
That
but it's
did not look good.
it didn't translate
Yeah.
well into an MCU product. No.
Not at all. And like, they're barking. It's supposed to be like, just make a lot of different noises. So we got all these Kangs. It's like, it's like, what is this? Don't do this.
Not the Arsenio Hall Kang.
So I'm not upset that it's dropping it from that aspect, but Loki set up, like, it's a cool concept. It's such a cool concept. Loki set it up really well. So it's disappointing that's getting dropped. The Robert Downey Jr. stuff, I'm okay with it.
Right.
Like, I'm not upset. Like, I don't know.
believe he can do it. Absolutely. If he wasn't already the perfect Tony Stark, if he wasn't already the perfect Iron Man, I would have zero problem with this. But he's already there as such an established character that he almost has to play his Doctor Doom like his Tony Stark. And Doctor Doom is not Tony Stark.
I think if you were to
I don't
do
think
this
he'll play it that way, but like
if you
that's
were to
what
do this
people
real
expect.
bad, I think that's what he would do. I think that is don't do that, I think.
Right.
And I think maybe that's part of the concern. And I don't like, people are like, but Tony Stark's dead and he was the perfect Tony Stark and it was the perfect send off, and you know, whatever. In 2 years Deadpool's gonna be digging up Tony Stark. Who knows? But like, I don't have this weird sentimental thing. It's just, it screams of desperation. It's such a like desperate Disney, like, please come back. We'll
when
throw
you
so
liked
much money at
MCU?
this.
Yeah, when you made us a lot of money, let's do that, Marvel again. Yeah, yeah. I think if they leave the mask on him, even
that's the best way.
90% of the time, that'll be perfect.
Yeah.
They'll
If
take
they-
the mask off though because they paid for Robert Downey Jr.
That's the thing. It'll be so hard for them not to. They're gonna want to. If they leave the mask on the whole time,
It'll be perfect.
boom. That's how you do
maybe-
it. That'd be the best
maybe-
way.
Maybe they will. Maybe they will even be super smart and just have him be a voice actor, so they don't have to pay him as much.
Oh,
And
that'd be pretty appetizing. Oh, they'll pay him a lot, but
well,
like,
I mean, yeah, they'll still pay him
even
a lot,
easier.
but
Yeah.
yeah, maybe he'll still get a percentage of the box office. Even I don't know, but that'd be much cheaper for them. I think that he's more likely to do it that way too, since he doesn't want to, probably, who wants to go and act when you could just sit there in a room and do it and laugh and have fun, without all the pressure, you know what I mean, and the dots and whatnot. But he's a good actor. I've always thought he was a good actor. Even in the 80s, he was a good actor. So
Bro just
I
won an Oscar
don't
for
doubt that he can do it.
Oppenheimer. So
Yeah. He can
Yeah,
do it.
I mean, I think he can do it. I'm not too concerned about that. The main thing was like just the message it put across, just how dire, how desperate Disney feels at this moment. Just like, scrap all that. And to be fair, like, I haven't hated where it's gone. I've actually really liked a lot of what I've watched of this phase. Not everything,
yeah.
but I still haven't watched the Samuel L. Jackson led. Was that Secret Invasion?
Oh,
TV
I
show?
liked it.
Was that
I
the
liked
name?
Secret Invasion. Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
watch it sometime. But the fact that you got Samuel L. Jackson as the lead, and that show still kind of flopped for them,
Yeah.
that is a bad indication.
It's because it wasn't like a superhero thing, though. It was very
That's
much
true.
like it was a very spy centric thing. When you start the whole thing with Martin Freeman's character, I don't even remember his name right off the top of my head, Everett Ross or whatever his name is. Like, that's your first big MCU pull in is that character from Black Panther.
Right. And people are so fickle too, because they'll be like, "Oh, so tired of multiverse stuff, superheroes, so tired of superheroes." But then you got multiverse superhero movie Deadpool, and although yes, Deadpool's like also jabbing at those properties, is doing the exact same thing.
Oh,
It
yeah.
is a ultra multiverse heavy
Yeah.
superhero flick. And people love it. So it's again a case of like people think they're tired of this thing. It's like, no, you're just tired of kind of
Seeing the
subpar
same
stories.
thing. That's what you're tired
Yeah,
of.
yeah.
You need something different. It's dopamine.
I don't think there's anything wrong with multiverse. I think people love multiverse. They just don't like when they try to use the multiverse to undo all the stakes. That's what they don't like,
Right.
I believe. I could be wrong, but
No, that's fair.
Or they use it in a
I mean-
lazy way, like the Flash.
Right.
yeah.
And it is weird how many things were just like multiverse all at the same time. That may be a bit much.
I mean, it was everything everywhere all at once, really.
Even Mortal Kombat, and I've seen the same complaints. Mortal Kombat 1 is multiverse stuff. And it doesn't start off that way. It just starts off as like rebooting the timeline. But then, spoilers for the game, once you get into it, it's like, oh no, it's just multiverse stuff. You have female Johnny Cage now, and you have
Which is fine. Like the original game had
yeah.
several different versions of Sub-Zero. Sub-Zero
Right,
with the classic with the mask on. Sub-Zero without the mask on.
And I've been enjoying it. I like it quite a bit, and I realize I'm not everybody, but like people just love to latch onto a thing. People love to parrot each other, though. Other people complain about multiverse stuff, so then when you're unhappy, you're like, yeah, multiverse stuff sucks.
Yeah.
Can we just take a moment to appreciate,
Yeah. Of all time.
of all time, can we just take a moment to appreciate of all time? I'm so tired of multiverse stuff. What are other things people say over and over and over again, even after they've seen 1,000 other people say the exact same thing?
Well, not all multiverse.
Is that...
No. Well, not all men.
Yeah, I was going to say, that felt like an all multiverses matter.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. Make that t-shirt.
Hey, speaking of, Thursday, that's tonight. It could get bent
It sure could.
because... Where'd it go? Let me do this thing. Let me
Do
share
the
screen
thing.
real quick. I think I forgot. I don't know if this was up last week, I think, but I forgot to mention it. Thursdays, they can get bent. Let me put it on a shirt that might.
That's great.
I finally
I like,
got it
I
up
like how
there.
the word bent is actually bent.
You can even get this in a...
That's
Tie-dye.
good.
Actually looks pretty
look,
good.
Beauty. Some
But
good,
yeah, I've-
good typography in that.
Jesse said that ages ago. I think I still have on my desktop. I do, right in the middle of my desktop screen, just a text file that says Thursdays to remind me. Finally got around to uploading the shirt. Oh, I've got a million.
Guys,
tabs
if you
open.
want a really good shirt for Thursdays, this is like the Garfield of Thursdays right here. Garfield hates Thursdays, but, Thursday, well, he hates Mondays, but Thursdays can just get bent,
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
And for
there
radio
you go.
people, we have a T-shirt. If you go to strangerswithshirts.com or strangerswitht-shirts.com, it'll both get you there. Go to our TeePublic store, and you can get a Thursdays They Can Get Bent shirt in a variety of colors and sizes. The
That's
hot pink is
delightful.
maybe...
Yeah, amongst others.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of amazing.
It is
It is
amazing.
amazing.
You know what else is amazing?
What?
Snakes.
Ooh.
And
Do they have noses? Like a Godzilla snake with a nose.
No, they don't.
Okay.
They
Okay, good.
smell with their tongues somehow. But and researchers funded by the Ministry of Transportation in Canada completed a long-term study on a huge population of garter snakes. their intention was just to track that the populations survived after being displaced by road construction because they, didn't want to murder them all. However, the data collected on over 3,000 snakes over a 12-year period illuminated details about their social structure that they would never otherwise have had. So rather than wandering around independently like everyone thought that snakes did, they actually form clear communities made from groups of friends, and that's exactly how they refer to them. It's friends. They like to hang out with these snakes more than other snakes. From sizes 3 to 46, just depending. The biggest surprise, though, was that females are the hubs of these communities. They're more social, and as they age, they get more and more friends, and they follow them around. So they'll lead them to good hunting spots or hiding spots and other just like frequented areas. But as the females become more popular, the men or the males, as they aged, became more antisocial, which they don't really know why yet, but that's something to look into later. But the larger communities were much healthier than the smaller communities, so obviously there's a benefit to the socialization. So yeah, that's basically it. It's just snakes get to join the list of matriarchies like elephants, orcas, and naked mole rats that we already know about. So yeah, interesting.
So did all those snakes get on that plane with Samuel L. Jackson because their friends were there?
Probably. Yeah, it's probably like the grandma was like, let's go up on this plane. And they're all like, yeah, let's see what's up on the plane. And went with her.
I was going to say, this is fake woke news.
On this mother trucking plane.
This is talking about Catwoman snakes, as in childless cat women.
Oh man, we had no political garbage on this show, and you just
I know.
We're like, we have to get off of this show in the next like 14 minutes, and you just squeak that one in there with the cat ladies.
These snakes should have no right to vote, and they're coming to take our black jobs.
Unless they're a family cat. If they're a family cat, they should get 3 votes.
Yeah.
There's something in me, Brandon. This is not a disrespect to Brandon, because we're not a political show. Well, I mean, we did take our jabs, but there's something in me that I can't help. As soon as Brandon said, yeah, we don't, not really, we don't talk politics on the station. As soon as he said that, it almost guaranteed politics is coming up every Grawlix episode.
Well, and then it's like he summoned the most absurd politics that we've ever had. And we've had absurd politics. Yeah. But now there's couch memes and there's cat ladies coming out of nowhere. It's like the weirdest. This is the darkest timeline for not talking politics.
Right. But you know what? That's about as political as we get. So yeah. I think we're fine. Yeah. I always shout him out too. It's probably a little late. I don't think he's up listening now, but he always comments after the show. He's like, "No, that's fine. It's funny." Blah blah blah. So he's fine with it. But you can't tell me not to do a thing.
It's ridiculous. It's so ridiculous right now.
It's true. It's true.
Like, I don't care what side you're on. You have to notice how dumb this has gotten.
Yeah.
And frankly, weird. It's very weird.
Frankly. Yeah. Oh my God. I don't know how that's working. That's been working. Somehow that works.
You're right. Somehow that
like, have you noticed they're weird? I'd be like, that's working? How's that working?
That's what's getting them. You can call them a Nazi, they're fine. You call them weird. Don't say that.
I guess you got to be a little vanilla for the centrists.
Yeah.
You just got to be a little.
You're right.
It's like, you know what? It's weird.
You're right. It is very much the like.
It's like the least offensive, ad hominem ever. It's an ad hominem, sorta.
Well, it makes sense though, because being so dramatic back and forth. No, everybody stops listening. You know, everybody's a communist.
Yeah.
Everybody's a Nazi.
Yep.
Everybody's a whatever. Just be normal and talk about people being weird, and it makes so much more sense to every person.
Yeah, somehow that's getting traction.
Yeah.
Because everybody else is a threat to democracy. And when you've heard that 1,000 times, it doesn't mean anything anymore.
Exactly.
But you're weird. It's just weird.
Mm-hmm. You're like, you know
I
what?
don't want to be weird.
Yeah, it is.
No. Weirdos. Yeah. Should probably leave it there. I was going to keep going, but I'll just leave it there.
Thanks, everybody, for watching. Thanks for listening. Check out more at grawlixpodcast.com, Grawlix podcast.com. If you want, go to grawlixpodcast.com/humble. That'll redirect you through our Humble affiliate link. Get yourself a Humble bundle. I believe they have a really cool looking Doctor Who RPG bundle right now. I was looking last night. And a big, huge Image Comics bundle, I think. I think it was Image. But yeah.
They've also got like another music bundle. If you're a content creator, if you're a podcaster like us, and you want some good Sting music, or you want some bed music, or you just want music that you won't get sued for, boom, get it. Also, I think Starfinder, the space version of Pathfinder, which is just basically D&D, they have a big bundle right now. That's pretty rad. I want to say there was another one, there's also big game thing.
There's a straight up classic Pathfinder mega bundle.
Oh, well, that came back then. Yeah.
Yep. Apparently so.
There's a whole bunch of like virtual tabletop bundles going on right now too. So
IDW. It was IDW mega bundle for the next day and 15 hours. I was wrong. It wasn't Image. Image pops up pretty often on these though. Yeah. An Ultimate RPG Doctor Who collection. I am not familiar with these games. Apparently one of them should be familiar to people who are familiar with 5e, which is the D&D I have the most experience with. So
yeah,
I might pick that up.
There's a lot of source books for like every Doctor, so like you can get as specifically nuanced to your favorite Doctor that you want.
First Doctor source book, second Doctor, third Doctor, Adventures in Time and Space, 11th Doctor edition. Wow, yeah, there's a ton.
Yeah.
The Black Archive, 12th Doctor source book.
Still 9, or is he like 9.5 now?
Yeah,
still considered 9.
He's come out. They've, I think it was RTD or maybe Moffat that came out and said, no, the number's still the numbers.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, I mean, like the War Doctor would have thrown a big wrench into that. There's that other 9th Doctor that they've kind of now, by showing in that little clip, canonized. And then, Fugitive Doctor and every Doctor before the first Doctor.
But multiverse, baby!
Yep. It really did. RTD said there's going to be more fourth wall breaks. It's going to become a regular part of Doctor Who, and I'm just like, why? I like meta stuff, but when it becomes a regular part, then there's no appeal to it. You've lost the appeal.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess Deadpool maybe proves that wrong, but that's like point of the character.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyway. Defending the Earth, the unit source book. Man, I kind of want to check these out.
Did you see they're doing, we need to get off of here, but they're doing a spinoff. Right. The Sea Devils.
Yes, confirmed. It's going to be a limited series.
Yeah, they're going to have Kate Lethbridge Stewart at least once in a while, but I don't know. I don't know why that's the one that they want to go with, but I don't know. I'd probably check it out at the very least.
I thought there was another one that was being talked about. No,
they've talked about a lot, but there's been a lot of rumors, but I don't know. That's the only one that I've heard that's for sure going to happen.
And there were a lot of rumors going around that the season did horribly and Disney's rethinking it, whatever. And I think BBC and maybe Disney, they've done damage control of that. They're like, no, the season was great. It did surpassed expectations or whatever. So
don't mind us. We're just going to put Robert Downey Jr. in there. Just for reasons, it's fine. It's fine.
Okay, this is a joke, but how awesome would this be? Robert Downey Jr. is the Master.
Yeah, he'd be great as the Master.
It'd be pretty good. Yeah. He's got the perfect, like, intense cockiness. So, whatever. But he's American, and they don't usually, Eric Roberts aside, they don't usually put Americans in such a role.
Say, if anyone could be American, it's the bad guy. I mean, the
true.
Master.
That's a good point. That's a good point. All right, thanks everybody for watching and listening. Have a great weekend. Hey, tune back in to Helix Rock Radio tomorrow night, same time, and I'll be here spinning some metal, because that's what I do every Friday.
Metal.
I spin it.